The Dyatlov Pass mystery, the case that still has no explanation. February 1959. 9 experienced hikers entered one of the most remote mountain regions in the Soviet Union. They were young, they were healthy, and they were prepared for the journey. But none of them would make it home alive. Weeks later, rescuers discovered a scene so strange that it would become one of the world's most famous unsolved mysteries. More than 60 years later, people are still asking the same question. What happened at Dyatlov Pass? The expedition was led by 23-year-old hiking instructor Igor Dyatlov. The group consisted of experienced students and outdoor enthusiasts. Their goal was ambitious but achievable. They planned to cross a difficult section of the northern Ural Mountains and earn a high-level hiking certification. On January 27, 1959, the group began their journey. Spirits were high. The hikers took photographs, wrote journal entries, and appeared to enjoy the adventure. Nothing suggested that disaster was approaching. On February 1st, the group reached the slopes of a mountain known as Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, the name is often translated as Mountain of the Dead. As weather conditions worsened, the hikers decided to set up camp directly on the mountain slope. It was a difficult location. Strong winds swept across the snow-covered terrain. Temperatures dropped far below freezing. That evening, the group settled inside their tent. It would be the last night any of them were seen alive. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, concern began to grow. Search teams were organized. Days passed with no sign of the group. Finally, on February 26th, rescuers discovered the campsite. What they found was deeply unsettling. The tent was damaged. Several cuts had been made from the inside. It appeared that the hikers had deliberately escaped through the fabric rather than using the entrance. Even more disturbing, many footprints led away from the campsite. Some of those footprints belonged to people who were barefoot. Others appeared to be wearing only socks. Following the footprints, searchers reached a nearby forest. Beneath a large cedar tree, they discovered the first 2 bodies. The victims wore very little clothing, despite the freezing temperatures. Nearby, evidence suggested they had attempted to build a small fire. Additional bodies were later found between the tree and the campsite. It appeared some members of the group had tried to return to the tent. Months later, after the snow melted, the remaining hikers were discovered in a nearby ravine. Some had suffered severe injuries. Investigators noted fractures and trauma that seemed unusual given the lack of obvious signs of violence. The mystery quickly attracted attention across the Soviet Union. Over the decades, countless theories emerged. One explanation suggested that an avalanche may have forced the hikers to flee. Others proposed military testing in the area. Some pointed to strange lights reportedly seen in the sky around the same time. More extreme theories included secret experiments and paranormal explanations. Every theory attempted to answer the same question. Why would experienced hikers leave the safety of their tent in the middle of a deadly winter night? Decades later, researchers continued to examine the evidence. Modern studies suggested that a small avalanche or snow slab event may have triggered the disaster. According to this theory, the hikers feared their tent would be buried and evacuated quickly. However, not everyone agrees. Critics argue that important questions remain unanswered. As a result, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to fascinate investigators and mystery enthusiasts around the world. More than 60 years have passed since that night in the Ural Mountains. Yet the story of the Dyatlov Pass hikers refuses to disappear. Was it a natural disaster, a tragic chain of mistakes, or something we still do not fully understand? What do you think happened? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more unsolved mysteries and true crime stories.